So generally, I don't look at my notifications much over the weekends. If I have a dumb tweet idea, I'll throw it out or I'll doom scroll a bit, but generally speaking, I don't look at my notifications over the weekend just as a way to let my brain take a breather, which is why it's extra funny to me when I tweet something out on a Friday night and then come back on Monday morning to see the internet yelling at me for it, which is precisely what happened last weekend when I tweeted out something that I thought was entirely obvious, but somehow provoked a bunch of console warriors to come yell at me over the internet. And I was going to make a video about this earlier in the week, but I just kept getting distracted, so here we are now. Following the release of God of War Ragnarok on Steam, a lot of people were trying to claim that it was a huge failure and a big old flop, which, first of all, glass houses my children, because we're only a few weeks out from the complete shutdown of Concord. But also, God of War Ragnarok was by no stretch of the imagination a failure on PC. Sure, the user reviews are taking a bit of a beating for absolutely justified reasons regarding the PSN requirements, but in terms of sales, it's done pretty damn well given the circumstances. And even not given the circumstances, it's still a successful PC port. It's been at the top of Steam charts for several days. It reportedly sold over 100,000 copies within the first 48 hours, despite launching in the middle of a work week and just a couple days after Final Fantasy XVI on PC, which was another previously PS5 exclusive title that launched in the middle of the week and took everyone's attention. So not only did you launch Ragnarok on PC way after the launch of the game itself, but you also launched it in the middle of a work week right after another PC port of another big single-player game that was also PS5 exclusive, and yet Ragnarok still managed to top the Steam charts for several days and sell several 100,000 copies in a matter of days, given all the circumstances. That is impressive. But the reason I tweeted out this is because it's the truth. PlayStation PC ports simply are not novel anymore. Back when they were first coming out, they were a novelty. There was definitely a feeling of, oh shit, Spider-Man, or oh shit, God of War. Holy shit, Sony's actually releasing games on PC. That's exciting. But now that Sony has made it clear several times that they intend to release a ton of other games on PC, and that going forward, the PC is now an integral part of their business strategy, the novelty is officially gone. And that's not a bad thing. Nothing stays novel forever, but the issues that Sony is having on the PC come from the fact that they're treating these PC ports like novelties despite them blatantly not being novelties, and it's really just getting annoying and holding back their sales numbers. They're still charging full price for games that are 1 to 2 years old. They're still trying to force PSN requirements into offline single-player games for literally no reason. They're still refusing to release story-based games in an amount of time that doesn't get it spoiled for a ton of people who would have otherwise been interested. They're still refusing to acknowledge the huge community of Souls-like players on the PC that would eat up Bloodborne and Demon Souls and are instead releasing a remaster of Horizon Zero Dawn, a game that is not in need of a remaster on PC in any capacity. They're refusing to release story-based games in the order that the story goes for some reason. I still have no clue why we have Uncharted 4 over on PC, and that's it. I have no reason why we have Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart and none of the other ones. The point I'm getting at is that now that the novelty of PlayStation games on PC has worn off, PC gamers have way too many annoying things to focus on when it comes to new PlayStation PC ports, and it's Sony's responsibility to change that if they want to be a top-tier publisher on this platform. So on September 21st, I quote-tweeted Push Square and said the obvious thing. PlayStation PC ports are not a novelty anymore, and if Sony wants to keep succeeding on this platform, they need to stop acting like they are a novelty. And the way to do that is to start going day and date. And in this video, we're just going to read through some of the responses I got from PlayStation fanboys who got very upset with me for suggesting that going day and date on the PC is a good business idea, despite the fact that literally every possible metric backs up what I said. I'm the bad guy because I pointed out that multi-platform games sell more on multiple platforms when the multiple platforms are all available at the same time. This is not a controversial thing to say. It is factually true. in every single instance. But let's just see some of the amazing and super well thought out counter arguments I got in response for saying the most obvious thing imaginable. G2 the Unit responds and says, PlayStation just had their biggest single player PC port with Tsushima just a few months ago, lol. Okay, what does that have to do with my tweet? I said that PlayStation games on PC are not a novelty, and your response is, yeah, well, this one from a few months ago did well. Yeah, but Ragnarok did not do as well, and Ragnarok came later, and Ragnarok was a bigger seller on PlayStation than Tsushima was. It's almost like my point is flying over your thick head. Ghost of Tsushima did really well on the PC because Sony finally jolted awake and gave PC players a game that they had been asking for years. Ragnarok was treated as a big novelty special event, and the numbers did not reflect that. Tsushima had PC player hype in a way that Ragnarok did not. The hype of Ghost of Tsushima on PC is not going to be replicated by every single PlayStation game on PC. That is the whole point that I was making. And this has always been true. Games like Spider-Man did really well on PC. Uncharted 4, not so much. God of War 2018 did really well on PC. Sackboy did not. You can't treat every single game as a novelty simply because some PlayStation games have more of an appeal to PC players than others do. These games are not selling off of novelty, they are selling off of individual game appeal to PC players. That is the difference. You can't take a game like Ghost of Tsushima that had appeal to PC players and use that as justification to treat every game as if it will be received the same way as Tsushima by PC players. Am I getting too high concept for you? This is like if Bloodborne or Demon Souls came out on PC and did super well, and then you took that as confirmation that Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered will also do super well on the PC. Like, no. These are completely different games under the same publisher, but they have completely different appeals. I swear, PlayStation dudes are so weird. You look at the God of War Ragnarok sales numbers and you insist that they're really bad. And then I say, well, they're not novel anymore. You know, Sony needs to change the strategy. And then you whip around and be like, well, actually, PlayStation games are doing really well because Ghost of Tsushima earlier this year. Like, motherfucker, you guys were just complaining about PC sales numbers, and then I agree about the PC sales numbers, and then you turn around and be like, well, look at the sales numbers, they're great. Like, can you, like, solidify your own thoughts before you try to critique mine? Hello, I'm interrupting this video to remind you that this channel is sponsored by 4D Gaming. If you would like a really nice mousepad, go to 4dgaming.com and use code Joe for a discount. This channel is also sponsored by Glitch Energy. It's basically G Fuel, but better, so go to Glitch Energy and use code Joe for a discount. Thank you for letting me interrupt your content. I'll let you keep watching it now. School teacher who loves Green Lantern responds and says, Ubisoft, EA, Microsoft do it and force you to install a separate launcher. Sony doesn't do that, you dumb crybaby bitch. God, you people are fucking hypocrites. Reminder that they're responding to this. This is all I said. All I said was that releases on PC from Sony are not novel anymore and they should go day and date. And then you start blabbing off about launchers and you call me a crybaby bitch. You're literally crying about something that I wasn't talking about, but I'm the crybaby bitch. Okay. But also, you're going to see a lot of people try to equate this to the PSN requirement, which again, I wasn't even doing. I'm happy to make that argument. I'm happy to hear the PSN argument, but I wasn't even making that argument. The argument I'm making is that releases on PC from PlayStation are not novel anymore the way that PlayStation releases are. They need to stop treating them like that. Ragnarok launched in the middle of a work week at full price when it has already been out for like a year and a half. Of course it didn't crank numbers right away. Expecting it to crank numbers right away is asinine, and that's without even mentioning the PSN requirement. Push Square brings up a problem. I present a solution to the problem, and then I get called a dumb crybaby bitch because XYZ reason that I wasn't talking about. And you call yourself a school teacher. You can't fucking read. Like, how about this one? Mark Verity says, why? So more whiny bitches can give them shit reviews because PSN is somehow the only account that crosses their imaginary line? Again, I wasn't talking about PSN. I was referring to the fact that Sony was treating the Ragnarok launch like a big, special, amazing thing when it just was not for this platform because you excluded this platform from the launch hype. You cannot do delayed PC releases like this at full price and expect it to be treated as a big novel thing anymore. And again, PlayStation games not being novel is not even a bad thing. It was going to happen eventually. Nothing is novel forever. But Sony needs to get off their high horse. They can't milk the PC the way they milk the PlayStation because they don't own the ecosystem. They need to stop acting like they do, because when they do stop acting like they own the ecosystem and they meet PC gamers halfway, you get shit like Helldivers. Helldivers outsold the PlayStation on the PC because you treated the PC as equal gamers. You let us be part of the launch hype. Do you see how that works? It's not novel when a PlayStation game launches on PC, and if you don't treat it as novel and just treat it as you would any other game, we are more than willing to meet you there. But I also love this. It's whiny and it's bitchy to be upset about the PSN requirement, and yet no one can answer a simple question. Why is PSN required? This is an offline single-player game. Why is PSN required? I know there's workarounds for the PSN requirement. I know there's workarounds, but that's not the point. The point I'm making is people are focusing in really hard on the PSN requirement for an offline single player game. It's like, oh, why are PC gamers bitching about it? Why are PC gamers so upset about this PSN requirement? No one can offer a simple answer to this question. Why is it there? Don't ask why we're mad. Ask why it's there. Do you have an answer? I don't think you do. And that is the problem. Again, you don't get to do a 1.5 to 2-year delayed launch at full price for an offline single player game that like 60% of the buying base has already had spoiled for them, and then on top of all that, ask us to make an account and sync an account for an offline single player game. You don't get to do that without pushback. The PC gaming community does not roll over the way the PlayStation community does, and we're not going to apologize for that. This guy responds and says, more port begging from the PC crowd, laughing, crying, laughing, crying, laughing, crying. I love this. Again, Push Square points out a problem. I point out a solution, and your response is, look at the port beggars. But like, motherfucker, do you want the problem solved or not? Do you want Sony to make money or no? Is it all about platform exclusivity to you? It's all about platform exclusivity to you. You don't actually want solutions to your problems. Sony is doing something dumb, and honestly, it's understandable why they're doing something dumb, because they're new to this platform. I am not new to this platform. I've been playing on the PC longer than Sony has been publishing PlayStation games on the PC, and I can easily tell them where they're going wrong. But you see this as port begging. And like this one too, PC, quote, gamers are such crybabies. How is it PC gamers being crybabies when we simply point out a solution to Sony's problem? Sony is the one that made the problem. PC gamers are pointing out the obvious solution, and you see the PC gamers as the bad guys in this situation, because you can't fathom that Sony would ever do something wrong. Sony's boot is so far down your throat, you physically can't even object to it anymore. But PC gamers are the crybabies, they're the whiny bitches. The PlayStation dudes cause a whole big stink about how the PC ports aren't doing good and PC gamers aren't buying the games. PC gamers come out and say, well, first of all, we are buying the games. Second of all, here's what Sony can do for us to buy even more of the games. Because the PlayStation and the PC are two very different ecosystems, and they need to be treated as different ecosystems. And then the PlayStation dudes who started this whole thing by whining themselves are now calling the PC gamers the whiny crybabies for pointing out the obvious solution to their made-up problem. Smokey McPotts says, I'm good with the current arrangement of my system first. Why? Why? How does it benefit you? How does it benefit you for your system to come first and the PC to come later if the PC version makes way less money and Sony gets way less profit to make more games for you? How does that benefit you? Why are you okay with that? Like, genuinely. Why are you okay with that? For reasons other than just corporate knob slobbering. I'm good with my console coming first. I'm good with my platform getting the game first. Yeah, it actively financially does not benefit the company making the games or the platform that I like. I suck off this corporation, and the thing they're doing is actively making them less money that they can use for more products for me, but also I like it better. Fucking why? Are you capable of critical thinking, you absolute fucking fly-headed goofball? One more. Tosh, aka, says, PlayStation is the lead console platform and Sony wants it to remain that way. Going day and date would simply lose them a lot of players and hardware sales. I'm so over this. PC gaming is growing at a much healthier rate than console gaming. There are far more PC gamers than console gamers. There are way more, like hilariously more PC gamers than PlayStation gamers. And if PC players have not converted to the PlayStation already, they are never going to do so. And I love how you're like, oh, if the games go to PC, well, Sony's going to lose sales. Sony's already losing sales by charging out the fucking ass for their hardware. Sony's already pushing people away with things completely unrelated to the first-party games. Where's your outrage on that? Oh, if Sony puts their games on PC on day and date, it's going to lose them a lot of players and hardware sales. They're already losing players and hardware sales with completely unrelated things. So why not make more money off the PC players to offset that? You guys are incapable of looking at the bigger picture. God, I'm amazed that me pointing out something so obvious was seen as such a controversial take. And the controversial take only started because the PlayStation guys were bitching about something that they weren't even completely right about. This whole thing started because people are saying Ragnarok was the worst thing ever on PC. Ragnarok sales were so bad, even though they were not. Again, given the circumstances, and even not given the circumstances, Ragnarok did financially well on PC. I know that upsets you for some reason, but that's the way it be. But I can't get over this. PlayStation dudes whine about how PC gamers aren't buying the PlayStation games enough. PC gamers are like, well, if Sony just did this and this and this, we would give them a lot more money. And you guys just melt down. Why did you present the topic if you didn't want anyone to engage with it? Oh my god, I don't know why this one bothered me so much. It's one thing when PlayStation dudes flip out about stupid things. It's another thing when they flip out about logical responses to their own nonsense. Oh my god. Toodles.